You know that moment when everything seems to be falling apart? When the ground beneath your feet feels shaky? Today, we're diving into an ancient story that feels surprisingly modern. A tale of survival, trust, and unexpected blessings in Genesis chapter 26.
And what's fascinating is how this chapter opens with a crisis. A devastating famine hits the land.
Just like his father Abraham faced before him, right?
Exactly. The text specifically mentions this was a different famine than the one in Abraham's time, and Isaac's first instinct was to head to Egypt, just like his father did.
But something different happens this time.
Yes, God appears to Isaac and explicitly tells him not to go to Egypt. Instead, he instructs Isaac to stay in Gerar, in the land of the Philistines.
That must have been a tough call to make, staying in a place experiencing famine.
It was, but with that command came an incredible promise. God tells Isaac, "Stay in this land, and I will be with you and bless you."
You know what's interesting? This whole situation seems to be a test of trust.
Absolutely. And it's worth noting that God reaffirms the covenant he made with Abraham, promising to give all these lands to Isaac and multiply his descendants.
But then Isaac faces this really human moment of fear, doesn't he?
Yeah, despite God's promises, he falls into the same pattern as his father, telling people his wife is his sister out of fear for his life.
It's almost like watching history repeat itself.
And yet, here's what's remarkable. God remains faithful even when Isaac fails. The text tells us that Isaac planted crops in that land and reaped 100-fold harvest.
Wait, during a famine? That's incredible.
Right? And this leads to something fascinating. Archaeological findings at Tel Shiva, which is biblical Beersheba, have actually revealed 8th century BC wells hewn in bedrock.
So we have physical evidence of these ancient well systems?
Exactly. It confirms just how valuable and contested these water sources were in the Negev region.
And that brings us to the well disputes, doesn't it?
Yes, as Isaac becomes increasingly prosperous, the Philistines become envious and start filling his wells with earth.
That seems like such a hostile act.
It absolutely was. These weren't just any wells, they were the same ones his father Abraham had dug. They represented both practical survival and spiritual heritage.
But Isaac's response is pretty remarkable, isn't it?
Instead of fighting back, he simply moves on and digs new wells. Each time there's a dispute, he relocates and tries again.
That must have taken incredible patience.
And persistence. He digs multiple wells until he finally finds one that's not contested, which he names Rehoboth, meaning broad places or room enough.
You know, it's almost like these wells become a metaphor for spiritual persistence.
Exactly. Each well represents a new attempt to find God's provision, even in the face of opposition.
And then something unexpected happens with Abimelech, right?
Yes, the same king who had earlier asked Isaac to leave now comes seeking a peace treaty.
What prompts this change?
They explicitly say, "We see plainly that the Lord has been with you." Isaac's consistent peaceful response and evident blessing from God made an impact.
And there's something really interesting about how they seal this treaty.
Yes, they share a meal together, which actually aligns with other Near Eastern peace treaties of the time. We've found cuneiform tablets showing this was a common practice.
So this isn't just a random detail in the story.
Not at all. It's historically authentic and culturally significant. But what makes this account unique is how it roots peace in God's blessing rather than just political pragmatism.
You know what strikes me? The way famine bookends this whole narrative.
Yes, and it's actually part of a larger pattern in Genesis. Famines often serve as divine instruments to test and strengthen faith across generations.
Can you expand on that?
Well, we see it with Abraham, Isaac, and later with Joseph. Each famine creates a crisis that tests faith but ultimately leads to greater blessing.
It's like these challenges become opportunities for growth.
Exactly. And in Isaac's case, his response to the famine sets up a pattern of trust that carries through the well disputes and eventually to reconciliation.
Speaking of wells, let's dig deeper into their significance.
The wells weren't just about water, they were about establishing presence and rights in the land. Each well Isaac dug was a statement of faith in God's promises.
And he keeps digging, even after repeated setbacks.
That's right. He digs well after well, naming each one according to his experiences. Esek meaning contention, Sitnah meaning opposition.
Until he finally reaches Rehoboth.
Yes, and that name, broad places or room enough, speaks to God's ultimate provision. It's a powerful testimony to perseverance.
You mentioned earlier about God's faithfulness despite human failure. Can we explore that more?
Sure. Even when Isaac repeats his father's mistake about his wife, God protects and blesses him. It shows that God's faithfulness isn't dependent on our perfection.
That's pretty encouraging for those of us who mess up sometimes.
Absolutely. And it's worth noting that after each failure or setback, Isaac grows. He learns to trust God more fully.
It's like watching someone gradually develop spiritual muscles.
That's a great analogy. Each challenge becomes an opportunity for his faith to grow stronger.
And it all comes full circle with that peace treaty, doesn't it?
Yes, what started with potential conflict ends in reconciliation. It's a powerful testament to how God can work through our patient endurance.
You know what's really striking? The way Isaac's story feels so relevant today.
It really does. We all face our own famines, our own well disputes, our own moments of fear and failure.
And the message seems to be about trusting God through it all.
Exactly. Whether it's staying put when everything says run, or keeping peace when others provoke, or trying again after failure, it's all about trust.
So what's the big takeaway from all this?
I think it's that God's faithfulness isn't just a concept, it's proven through trials. Isaac's story shows us that persistence in faith leads to provision.
And sometimes that provision looks different than we expect.
Right. Sometimes it's 100-fold harvest in a famine. Sometimes it's finding the right well after multiple attempts. Sometimes it's peace with enemies.
This has been such a rich discussion. Any final thoughts?
Just that Isaac's story reminds us that faith isn't about avoiding difficulties, it's about trusting God through them.
Well, there you have it, folks. From famine to flourishing, from conflict to peace, it's all about keeping faith through the journey. Thanks for joining us on Copilot Podcasts.